Cool. Okay, cool. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to Second Bloom. Thank you for talking to us today. Could you please introduce yourself?
Of course I can. Thank you for having me. I'm Lisa Talbot. I'm an award-winning personal stylist, and I've been in the business, actually, it's really bad when you hear this, 17 years. So I specialise in working with women, making sure that they have a wardrobe that they love. So, one that we all know, one that you can open up in the morning and go, oh, yes, I could wear this, this, and this, rather than open it up and thinking, where do I start? Mm-hmm. So that is what I do. And I have a podcast too called The Pocket Stylist, which you're coming on too. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, that's who I am and what I do.
Brilliant. Thank you. I mean, I can definitely resonate with that. I think I'm in the latter camp of looking in the wardrobe and not knowing what I'm going to wear or what I'm looking for. But I'm really excited to talk to you today about reigniting your passion for fashion and specifically looking at the perimenopause years. Now, we all know what you're going to get later in life, and maybe your desire for fashion changes, or the way your body looks and feels changes. So I'm keen to hear your views and your kind of toolboxes that you recommend for people to use to make themselves feel confident and happy again at this stage of life through their wardrobe.
Yeah. And do you know, it's really interesting, Natalie, isn't it? Because as we go through life is a bit of a journey. Our wardrobe changes, but our style changes. And I'm a massive kind of believer in that you have to have a wardrobe that you love, but one that suits your personality and your lifestyle. And when we talk about body shape, it's not about, what shape are you in that respect. It's about dressing for your shape that makes you feel confident. It's not about the size label or anything like that. And we know that, during kind of perimenopause and the menopause and postmenopause, our body changes because some of us lose weight, some of us put on weight, some of us gain weight around our tummy, that we never had before. So it's about using the styles that are out there in the high street or however you want to shop that makes you feel comfortable, but more importantly, makes you feel like you.
I think that's a really important point, because you can be defined in so many different ways, and it definitely is not about the size on that tag. And I think, maybe in younger years you can get hung up on that, can't you? And you might have been a 10 when you were in your 20s, but now you might be a size 16, and that's absolutely okay. But I think it's the mindset that you kind of need to shift yourself.
Yeah, but if you think about it, and we all know this, if you went to H&M, for example, and you pick up a 10, and then you go to Ted Baker and you pick up a size 2, for example, and then you go to, I don't know, let's say Victoria Beckham and you pick up a 10, they're all different. The size 10 is not the same. So it's very much about, from my perspective as a stylist, don't get het up about that size label, because I guarantee you the same size label in 10 different stores will not fit the same.
That's true. It's a very good point. I think it's important to remember that. So, I mean, how do you think women in their 40s and 50s can use fashion to build their confidence?
I think there are certain shapes and styles that they can use, but because interestingly, there's kind of two different angles on this. Guaranteed, when you're at kind of that age, you look in the mirror and sometimes you see a very different person looking back at you. And interestingly, we're all very self-critical. So we all look in the mirror and think, oh, I haven't plucked my eyebrows, or I don't quite like how my shoulders are today, or I feel quite wide in my hips. And then you go out and you meet friends for coffee, or you're at work and someone will say to you, oh, I love your top. And automatically you revert back to, hang on a minute, why are they not looking at my hips? Why are they not looking at my shoulders? Because instinctively, other people don't see what we see. So by using certain clothing and certain fabrics and colours to help us feel good when we look in that mirror, automatically the confidence enhances. So the shoulders go back. We walk out the door more positive. So it's using the right shapes and styles and colours that suit us, and then embracing the personality side of who we are to then make us feel confident. So yeah, it's about using clothes very strategically. It sounds quite too much, doesn't it? But when you look at that, if you wear something you love, you will feel confident. If you feel rubbish in something, don't wear it, because that is how your day will be set up for the whole day.
Yeah. I mean, what about the scenario though, that sometimes, I find clothes that are very, very comfortable, but they're not necessarily flattering or right for me. How do you tackle that?
Yeah. So I would always say a wardrobe has to be flexible. So I really don't expect anyone to be sat there watching Coronation Street in a formal jumper and great jeans. Because again, you've got to have a wardrobe that works for you. So, take me for an example. I love being outside, right? So I've got a dog, I walk the dog, but I'm not going to wear the dog in the same thing that I might go shopping in, because if I fall in a puddle or, that type of thing. So we've got to have a wardrobe that works. So, but you can still feel good in what you're wearing. So if I walk the dog in a pair of jeans I love, that I know gives me a nice shape with my boots and a sweatshirt, for example, then I'm still going to feel confident walking the dog. If you're sat watching Coronation Street in a lovely piece of leisure wear that you love the colour in, then you're still getting that same kind of feeling. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, absolutely. I think you're right. It's important that you have that love for it.
Yeah.
And so what are your top tips for having a fashionable and flattering wardrobe for women that are perimenopausal?
Okay. So if we think about perimenopausal, some of the, I suppose, the symptoms that we have, it could be an increased body temperature. It could be excess sweating. It could be not wanting to have something tight. So we can really play with fabric. So if you suddenly have an increase in body temperature that you've never felt before, then definitely use fabrics such as natural fabrics, the cottons and the linens and the silks, because they're breathable. So they're automatically going to drop your temperature. They're not going to make you feel so hot. If you really, again, don't like things that are uncomfortable, instead of wearing a round neck now, maybe wear a V-neck. Doesn't have to be a plunge neck, but it can open your neckline up so that you don't feel so encased in a round neck. And then also you can use garments. For example, you might have loved a skinny jean, but now a skinny jean might feel too claustrophobic. So swap the skinny jean or trouser to maybe a straight leg, maybe a wide leg. Use the trends that are out there now, because what you're going to do, you're going to adapt your style to suit yourself. So as an example, I had an event to go to at Christmas, and I knew I was going to be there all day, and I have the heat in my body that I've never had before. Then I thought, I've got to be really comfortable. I've got to be, because otherwise I'm not going to enjoy it. So I chose a fabric in a dress that I knew was going to feel comfortable. It wasn't going to make me hot, and I opened up the neckline. So there's little tricks that you can do to help with that, and then just adapting the styles that you might have not chosen before. There's that saying, Natalie, isn't there? If you've always done what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. So it might be that instead of wearing trousers, you're going to swap to a skirt or a dress. So little things like that can help.
So I think I certainly am guilty of this. Is sometimes I kind of fall in the habit of not planning ahead in advance enough. Life takes over and you get busy, and then you get to an ad before we're going out and you haven't quite thought ahead to what you should wear, and it's a mad dash. But I think you're right, being open-minded to try different styles and different things, I think can definitely ease the symptoms that you get through perimenopause.
And you don't have to necessarily go and buy it. You could try it first. So if you're if you shop online, then maybe order a couple of bits up that you're not used to, try them at home, see what else they go with. If you're out in the shops, pick it off the rails and go and try it on, because sometimes that is where the magic happens. You don't think you're going to like it, and then actually you try it on and go, oh, I quite like this. So there's opportunity to try before you buy completely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you know what? I felt that way about my wedding dress, that what I thought I wanted in my mind wasn't what I ended up buying. And I think you have to go through that kind of baptism of different things to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's a really important one. So, I mean, you sound like you've got years of experience in this and you're extremely knowledgeable. Have you always been interested in fashion? Has this always been your number one passion?
Yeah. So interestingly, I used to work when I was like about 16 years old. I used to work in a local hairdresser's, and this is going back years, right? So I used to get £6 a morning, and that's £6 a morning, not an hour, a morning.
Yeah.
And I used to save my money up, and then I would go into like the local town where I lived at the time, and I'd go and shop around the shops, and it was Topshop, and it was, all that type of thing. And I'd go and have a look at the colors and the styles and the shapes. So yeah, I've always had a love of fashion, and never kind of went down that road. I went into, would you believe, HR.
Right.
And then I had twins 19 years ago. Yeah, 19, 20 years ago. And at that point, I was then, able to go, hang on a minute, what do I really want to do, after they were born and things like that. And I love people. So that was my HR side. And I've always loved clothes and fashion. So they kind of married up together. And then I went off and I trained, as an image consultant and further training as well. So yeah, it's always run through what I've done.
Yeah, I mean, it shows because you're extremely knowledgeable and passionate in this area. And I'm guilty of that's not my strength, I would say.
But
so
we're all good at certain things, aren't we? That's
absolutely.
why plumbers are plumbers. That's why you do what you do. That's why other ladies are seamstresses. And that's where we're able to pull on the experts when we need them.
Absolutely. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, the women that I speak to and support through this stage of life is, that there's a mix of emotions that they're feeling, and they have varying symptoms. And I think there's a lot that can be said for, focusing on fashion to making themselves feel better. And I do believe, and I don't know if this is your same view, that it can improve their relationships as well. Because if you feel different about yourself, that feeds into the way that you talk to people. So I feel like there's a mental health element there that maybe is overlooked sometimes, and can be hugely important for women in this stage of their life when mental health is such a
I absolutely agree with you, because one of the symptoms is the anxiety. Sometimes that anxiety comes up from your feet where or it's come from the side and smacked you straight between the eyes. And interestingly, if from an anxious point of view, it could be that you think more about what other people are thinking of you, and actually they're not, but in your head, you've got to be at peace with that. So if you know that you're wearing cerise pink and it's your best color and everybody's going to love you in that cerise pink, then you're going to wear it. And actually then, whether you're at work or whether you're picking the children up from school or whatever you're doing, you feel confident, and that will help just suppress some of that anxiety, because how good you feel. And this word feel is massive. It's all about how do you feel. And I always say, if there's anything in your wardrobe that doesn't fill you with joy and doesn't make you feel happy, it should not be there. Get rid of it. Chuck it out, give it to charity, sell it, do whatever you want with it, but do not have it there, because that's what creates the negative mindset.
I like it. And that sounds ruthless. I mean, just thinking now, half my wardrobe can probably go, to be honest. And how often do you think you should sort of be clearing out your wardrobe like that? Should it be seasonal or, annually?
I think it depends. It depends on what you've got in there. So if you're an investment piece buyer, you might buy, investment pieces such as great tailored trousers, a really lovely wool coat, great jeans, that type of thing. But we all know that actually we don't necessarily follow the trends, but we love to look modern, right? So this season, people are already thinking, right, spring, summer's coming up. What are the colors for the season? How can I integrate that into my wardrobe? So for me, I think definitely people look seasonally, because if they've got something in their wardrobe, and that's if they're a real follower of fashion, they would look to move things through. But that we keep things in our wardrobe for longer than sometimes we do. And then that's when that comes, but we only wear 20% of it, 80% of the time. So if you're only wearing this small proportion, make it work hard for you, make it do its job. So therefore, when the next season comes, just take those pieces out if they've seen better days now, and start to inject new pieces in. I'm a huge believer in, you don't need a massive wardrobe, you just need a wardrobe that all goes together. But the bottom line is it must suit your personality. Never dress for anybody else or how you think they think you should look, because that's when you lose your confidence.
It's important, I think. Be true to yourself.
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. I mean, it's definitely made me feel I want to go and clear up my wardrobe now. That'll be this afternoon's job.
It's just about looking at your wardrobe and going, okay, does it suit my personality? Does it work for my lifestyle? And do I love everything in it? Those are the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself.
Brilliant, noted. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. And I'm looking forward to joining your podcast later this week as well.
Absolutely. If anybody's got any questions, they can always, give me a shout and give me a follow anyway.
Will do. If you want to, just a note for anyone listening, I will include Lisa's contact details in the show notes. So if anyone wants to get in touch directly, please do. Thank you.
Thank you.